Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manflow Yoga. Today, I'm going to guide you through Scorpion Pose. So we're going to build up to this with a few key postures, and then you're going to be able to test it out at the end of the workout. Enjoy. Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. Welcome to Manflow Yoga. Today's workout is the Scorpion Pose. So I'm going to have Edward, when he edits this later on, put a picture of Scorpion Pose right here in this general area so you can see what Scorpion Pose is. So Scorpion Pose, as you can see in my non-existent photo right here, which now exists, is a combination of a few different poses. We've got a forearm stand and we've got a back bend. So a forearm stand requires shoulder mobility, it requires core strength, and it requires hip stability. The Cobra requires core strength, back strength, upper back strength, and again, that core stability aspect. So we're going to be working on both of those things today. So we're going to be going through the basics of Cobra Pose. Actually, not the basics of it, but more so emphasizing all of the muscles that are active and all of the movements that are part of Cobra Pose. And then also, we're going to be doing the forearm stand, which is based on a dolphin pose. So we're going to be using all of those poses and putting them together so that we're training your body to get ready for Scorpion, the arm balance. Today you're going to need a strap, preferably a strap like this, a D-ring strap like this, and that should be all you need. If we use a block, we might use a block. I don't think we will. So let's get started. So first thing I'm going to have you do, I'm going to have you grab that strap, and we're going to set the strap up because we're going to use this kind of throughout the day and throughout the workout. You're going to get the strap exactly shoulder width distance so that when you put your arms between the strap and go out wide like this, you're getting exactly shoulder width. Okay, so this is our goal. Now I just want you to try a couple arm lifts like this. So just going straight up, keeping your elbows in, and reaching straight up and kind of just opening up your shoulders a little bit. So we want to go up as high as we can and just doing these shoulder lifts. Now at the same time, you want to keep your biceps facing up as much as possible. So you're going to feel the muscles, right? You're going to feel these muscles in the back of your armpit and your back engaging. So again, we want to make sure that the triceps aren't going out like this, but that we're keeping the arms wrapped in so the biceps face up. And the palms are facing forward because this is where our hands would be, right? And you can also, I've seen some people practice with their palms facing up, which helps to get a little better engagement to the upper back. So let's try with the palms facing forward, but just know that you can also do it with the palms facing back. And then we're going to work on lifting your arms up, all the while keeping your biceps facing as back as possible. Now if you're going up and you're noticing that your arms start to turn in like this as you get up, that means that we need to work on your shoulder mobility a lot more before we start doing forearm stand, and that can take a while. So don't be discouraged, but you are going to need to work on your shoulder mobility to be able to do this properly. So again, we're just kind of slowly going up, opening up the shoulders, and slowly coming back down. And again, biceps facing up. And this does take a lot of effort to do. This isn't easy. Going up as high as we can. Again, biceps wrapping back. And then coming back down, keeping those elbows in. All right, take a little break. Take that out so now we know kind of what that feels like. All right, let's go into a plank. Let's just get the body warm. And we can get the wrists warm while we're at it. You're gonna need those too. So index fingers, middle fingers, thumbs all squeezing away from one another. Tighten your abs, pull your chest forward. We're gonna do a few breaths here. Just getting the whole body warm, getting your shoulders warm, getting your chest warm, getting your abs engaged, and warming up the thighs. 3 breaths. Squeeze your hands toward your feet back toward your hands. The goal of this is not to exhaust you, it's just to get all the right muscles turned on. Biceps wrap forward. Again, we're working on that rotation, that external rotation of your shoulders. You're going to need that today. One more breath. All right, and then go ahead and slowly lower down all the way. Let's take this into Cobra. So warming up your legs, reach your legs back, Point the toes. Don't work on lifting up that high yet because you're not that warm. So squeeze your thighs, push your knees, your ankles, your hips toward one another. Press the tops of your feet into the ground and lift your chest 2 inches away from the ground. Baby cobra. So just barely lifting up, squeezing your elbows back, maybe walking your hands pretty far back toward the hips. Look slightly forward, getting into this back bend. Do 3 breaths here, just warming up the thighs. So again, squeezing the legs toward one another, pressing the tops of your feet into the ground, squeezing the elbows back, engaging the shoulders. And then go ahead and release. Move back into a child's pose from here. We're going to work on opening up your shoulders again. So arms about shoulder width. Pull your hips away from your hands. So pushing your butt back. And again, pulling your whole torso, your hips away from your arms so you can stretch your shoulders. Biceps are still going to wrap up here. So we do want to work on that. We want to make sure that the biceps aren't facing in. But again, they're facing slightly up. You can relax your forehead on the ground. And actively opening up your shoulders here. So again, pushing your butt way back, pulling your upper body away from your hands, opening up the shoulders. Give this 3 breaths, and again, be really active here. So your arms are engaged, your elbows are lifted away from the ground, biceps are actively wrapping up. Arms squeezed toward one another. 2 more breaths. All right, go ahead and come up. We're going to move into a high lunge from here. So even though this is a upper body exercise, you're going to need your full body for this. So let's go into a high lunge, right leg forward, left leg back. Push your right heel toward the ground. Squeeze your right glute. Allow your hips to sink forward and bring your arms overhead. Exhale to sink forward a little bit more. Working into your hips, squeezing your legs toward one another. Your inner thighs are going to be a part of this as well. So when you're up in any arm balance, in any handstand or scorpion or forearm stand, your legs need to squeeze toward one another. That stabilization helps to, squeezing the legs towards one another helps to stabilize your core. It also makes it easier to balance because there's less fluctuations in your body. Bring your arms up. We're going to go to a standing side stretch with a high lunge. Interlace the fingers, point your index fingers up, and lean toward the right. Really push your arms up, lean as far as you can toward the right. Hips press just barely toward the left, opening up through the left shoulder in particular. 2 breaths here. Get your chest up, reach back a little bit. And now we're doing 3 breaths. 1 more breath. And go ahead and come back to the middle. Stand up, take a forward fold, bend your knees, pull your chest forward, squeeze your legs toward one another. Fingertips on the ground, stretch your hamstrings. Go ahead and pedal your heels or pedal your knees back and forth, keeping length through the torso. We're going to be using forward folds a lot to counter back bends today, as it tends to put some stress on those muscles in your back when you're doing those back bends. Pull to a half lift. Legs squeeze toward one another. Tighten the abs. Pull your body forward. Lengthen. Exhale and fold. All right. And then step your right leg to the back. We're going into a high lunge, other side. Push your left hip toward the ground. Squeeze your right leg forward. Squeeze your left leg back. Opening up through the right hip flexor. Lifting your ribs up, getting that openness through the chest. And again, warming up the legs. We're going to need the legs for today. Go ahead and bring your arms up. Interlace the fingers. Point your index fingers straight up. Lift your chest, even a little bit of a back bend here. And then breathe in. Lift. Exhale. Bend over toward the left. Deepening stretch through the whole right side of the body. Really press your arms up. Get a deeper stretch through your right shoulder. Keep the legs squeezing toward one another. Keep your hips stable.
Keep your hips square, so that right hip is still lifting up slightly, the left hip pressing down. 2 more breaths. See if you can lift up and lean over a little bit more. Come back to the middle. And then go ahead and stand back up. And again, take a forward fold. Bend the knees.
Squeeze your legs toward one another. Pull your chest forward. Keep the abs tight. Maybe bringing your hands a little bit lower to the ground now because we've warmed up a little bit more. Stretching the hamstrings, squeezing your quadriceps. All right, and then bring your arms straight out in front of you for a half lift. So your arms come straight out, hinging at the hips, chest pulling forward, making your back as flat as possible. Stretching through the hamstrings. 2 breaths here. Press your arms further away from you and turn your palms to face up. 1 more breath. And release. All right, take it back to a plank. Go ahead and come down to a forearm stand. Sorry, forearm plank. Forearm stand would be much more difficult. We're just doing a forearms plank right now. Keeping the abs tight, pulling your chest forward, keeping the biceps facing forward, squeezing those elbows in. 3 breaths here. Just turning everything on. 1 more breath. And go ahead and release. Take it into a cobra. Point your toes back. Press your feet into the ground. Make sure that the knees are facing straight down. Squeeze your legs toward one another. Inner thighs are engaged. Pushing your feet into the ground. Hands toward your hips. Lift your chest. Just 2 breaths here. Make sure you're using both sides of your back. Sometimes we tend to lift to one side or the other. Helps to use a mirror or take a photo. 1 more breath. And release. And let's go back into a down dog. So body's really warm by now. We're gonna use this down dog to open up the shoulders a little bit more. Start from a plank position. Bend your knees. Press your butt up and back. Press down through your hands. Open up your hamstrings. Lightly pull your chest forward so you're not rounding your spine. And again, you want to try and hike your hips up and away so they're not in your line of vision. So if you're looking back between your legs, you shouldn't see your hips at all. That means you're rounding your back. So pull your hips up so you can't see them. And then the arms, we're doing that internal rotation with the arms so the biceps face forward. Pushing your butt back and up, lifting your hips. Trying to make your back as flat as possible. Opening up through the calves and your hamstrings. 2 more breaths here. Stretch your shoulders. Make sure the arms are straight. All right. And then go ahead and take this into a staff pose. So we're going to go legs straight out in front of you.
Thanks for joining me for this workout today. Make sure you subscribe. We put out lots of videos like this on a very regular basis. And to get full access to all of my workouts, my programs, tutorials, and more, head to manfulyoga.com, sign up for a 7-day trial. It's just $1. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.